Lesson 11.5, the last lesson in the chapter. Choose the best model for two variable data. You need to be aware that in this lesson you will need a device that does regressions, such as one of the following. You don't need all of them, just pick one. A graphing calculator. It's going to be the easiest. Excel on Windows or Mac. Wabbit EMU app on Android or Windows, and I think Mac also. Just search for Wabbit EMU. Or an app like Graphing Calculator 3 or G-Calculator or similar apps on iOS. To find the best model for a set of data pairs. So you know you have some data and you want to find out what models it is. You can find out, make some predictions about it. You need to first of all make a scatter plot. So you graph all the points. Then you determine the function suggested by that plot. Today we have 5 functions. The first one is linear. Y equals ax plus b, and of course it looks like a line, hence it's linear. Or maybe it's quadratic. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Of course that's a parabola. I happen to make mine upside down, but they might be right side up. Or maybe it's cubic. Cubic has this shape where it levels out, or cubic could also look like that, or like that, or like this. Quadratic, of course, could look like that. Exponential, y equals ab to the x. Starts out pretty level, and then it goes up quickly, or it goes down and levels out. Or maybe a power function. Power function can look similar to exponential, which also could look like that. So you'll need to look at it, try them both, and see which one fits the best. To graph data on the TI graphing calculator, hit Stat, and then go over to Edit. Clear any list by highlighting List 1 or List 2 and push Clear. Enter the X values in List 1 and the Y values in List 2. Push Y equals and clear any equations. The Y equals highlight plot 1 and push Enter. It should default to scatter plot. And then hit Zoom, Zoom Stat, and you should see your points. Choose your type of graph. Pick one of the 5. If you don't have a graphing calculator, you can use Excel or any of the apps that I mentioned already. Now, to get your regression, go Stat, over to Calc. So specify your X data, that should be list 1, commas. Specify the Y data, and if you want to name the regression or save it, you go Variables, Y variables, Function, Y1. If you have a newer TI graphing calculator, all this is in a nice little window. If you're an older TI graphing calculator, you should see that on your screen. Push Enter, and it'll give you the regression. If you push Graph, you'll see it on your screen. And again, this can be done on the other apps or Excel if you don't have a graphing calculator. For Microsoft Excel, put your data in 2 columns. Highlight the columns, click Insert Scatter. You should now have a scatter plot. To get a regression, select your graph and click Chart Tools, Layout, Trendline, more trendline options. Select your regression type. Quadratic is a polynomial order 2, cubic is polynomial order 3. The others are named as you would expect. Checkmark the display equation on the chart box. Click OK and you will see your regression and your equation. Our first example. This table shows the cost of a meal, X in dollars, and the tip, Y in dollars, for parties of 6 at a restaurant. Find a model from the data. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make a scatter plot. So graph all the points. And we look at that and say, well, it could be cubic, or it could be linear. Well, I think that tips are usually should be just a percent of the cost of the meal. So that means linear. We're going to try linear, although cubic would give us a slightly better match. But we're going to go with linear because tipping should be a linear function. So I put it into my calculator. I hit stat and y equals, and I'll try to put up a little video of doing that. I'll put in my calculator, and it gives me that line. And so as you can see here, there's my equation of the best fitting straight line, which means that they're tipping about 17%. There's another one, money in your savings account after X weeks. Start by graphing the points. We're looking at the shape and all that one. You see it levels out here in the middle. So it's going up, levels and goes up. That is cubic. So I use my calculator and it gives me this equation